This is going to be a rambly video. I've been thinking about how you type maths on a mobile device with a touchscreen keyboard. Particularly how you type LaTeX. LaTeX not very good for it. There are quite a few reasons why. I'll try and explain some of those. So first of all is when you start an input in a phone device, it likes to capitalize the first letter, which if you don't want a capital X, I have to go back here and I have to, on this Samsung keyboard, I have to press the shift key like 3 times to get down to an X, which is fine. Next, if I want to say X equals, there's no equals key on this screen of the keyboard, so I have to switch across here and get to another one, and if I press space it comes back, but if I'd wanted more symbols I would have had to switch all over the place. Now, mobile keyboards have different sets of keys available. There doesn't seem to be a standard layout, so this one's got the number row across the top. The standard Google keyboard on my phone has those numbers hid under the top row of letters, so you have to like hold it down for a while, and that's quite slow to input a number. Now, Tech in particular uses backslash a lot, which it's not even on the first page of keys here. Many keyboards it's not, so I have to go a couple of presses to get back there. So I'll go frac. So every time I want to do a backslash, I have to go and find that. What I sometimes do is, if I'm writing Tech, concentrating on what I'm doing is type a load of slashes out and then come back to the one that I want to fill in, which is not a great way to go about your life. Right, so here I need curly braces. Also on this keyboard, curly braces are on the second screen. So I could, if I want to write frac X, I'll have to, oh god, I've got to go back to that second page again. There we go. I have another one. There, I could get 2 there, but if I'd wanted a letter, so like, for example, pi, I've got to go slash pi thingy thingy thingy. So it's quite awkward. Something else that quite often happens is if I have X and I do X dot Y, some keyboards might stick a space after there, or they might start capitalizing. That's another problem. Now, if I'm typing a big long string of text, I think maybe the number of weird characters I used there made it think that I wasn't writing text anymore. But if I just start out, what if I start writing something that the dictionary in this doesn't know? So I wonder if it knows zeta. It does. But if I... Yeah, so squirt is... Oh, I must have typed all these things before. But anyway, autocomplete happens sometimes. And in fact, you might want autocomplete to work for you. So sometimes I type... if I'd mistyped zeta there, it corrected, instead of zero, I should have done zeta. That's not in the list of guesses, but there's a guess. So sigma. Autocomplete's really helpful. Actually, a long word is often quicker to type on a phone keyboard than something short and not a real word. So that's worth bearing in mind. So I've been thinking about what kind of syntax you should use instead of Tech, or to convert to Tech. So I've got an option here, there. And the semantics of this are a bit different to Tech. I want to ideally remain on this first screen as much as I can. And this is just where I've got to so far. I think a lot of the control stuff I should just type as words. So the hard parts in Tech are those curly braces, the grouping, which you might think you need some punctuation for, but maybe you just need some letters, some words that represent curly brace open, curly brace close. So I've gone for open, and then I can have close as well. By the way, my display here is showing me just underneath it converted to tech, and then underneath the rendering using MathJax, and sometimes that'll be incomplete when it's doesn't quite work. So the other thing is messing about with case a lot. So if I write F, that should, it might sometimes come up as capital F, and I can't really control it, and I don't really want to bother thinking about if it's going to do that. It's too unpredictable. So if case matters, I should have some other way of specifying case. I've gone with, because I'm going to type so many words for punctuation and stuff, to get an actual letter to appear, I have to put a dot in front of it. So dot X gets me an X. And again, because I put a dot, it wrote a capital X, but I wanted a lowercase x, so it's there. If I want a capital 1, I'll do a comma. I might swap those around. There might be, those are pretty much the only two symbols I have access to. So some combination of those for upper and lowercase I think is a good idea. Everything else, there are some keywords that I've defined that have certain meanings, but otherwise if I type a word, then it just, at the moment, it just produces the text command with that name. So if I give frac, oh, I'm in capital mode again, but it doesn't matter. It's going to give me a /frac, so I can say .a, .b to give frac of a over b. If I wanted a group here, I would have to write open .b plus .e, for example, close. So open and close brackets. The thing that I've typed is, it's not hugely readable, the source code, but LaTeX not that readable, and people get used to it. I don't know. I think the point here is that it should be easy to type it. That's my main priority that I'm thinking about. Brackets, I think, I don't know whether this came on later on, like parentheses in tech, you have to remember to do /left to get them stretchy. They should just always be stretchy. So I've come up with LB for and RB for brackets. So LB, RB, and I'm going to make that really big. I could make it, where's my cursor gone? Superscript as well. I don't have the caret or the underscore key, so I've done from and to and sup and sub for superscript, subscript, depending on what I want. So this is, I think, quite all right. I can type fairly quickly this way. So I'm going to try and write the definition of the standard deviation and narrate as I go. So for equals, again, some keyboards do, you can quite easily get to symbols, and mobile phone keyboards quite often will give you some of the more unusual Unicode stuff, like the times character. So I think we should support those, by the way. I don't need one at the moment. So sigma equals, what is it? It's the square root. I don't think sqrt is a good name for square root. Maybe just writing out square root would be, like the actual words, would be a good idea. So I'm going to want square root of frac 1 over n, and then some. Actually, I'm just going to put a new line here and write close there just to get that to close, so that it renders as I go. So sum from I equals 1. I didn't put a dot there for my I, but I can get back to it quite easily. And again, look, I put a dot and it put a space, but it doesn't matter. So not within that close. I don't want that. Come on, let's get some spaces here. Close here. I've got too many closes. There we go. Right. Okay. Cool. That's a real problem, isn't it? Working out where your nesting levels are. So there we go. So I want x sub. I want dot x dot sub dot I. Minus. Again, I don't have a the minus key. I could switch. I could just type it if I wanted to, but I'm trying to avoid that at the moment. Mu is a command. RB squared. Okay. So I think there's something in this. I'm sure this won't get widely used, but it's worth thinking about. What's a good way of entering mathematical notation on a phone keyboard where you've got a very limited set of characters? Yeah, there you go.